Hello everyone, welcome to part 2 of this replay between Morrow and Jimpo here on Steps of War. Army-wise, both players really playing the micro game at this stage. 3 Vikings in the air, Siege Tank now trying to perhaps take down that one particular Siege Tank over there. That Siege Tank just outside of siege range, unable to see. So this Siege Tank really wants to try to siege up on this low ground and be able to use those Vikings as sight. Those Siege Tanks still do not have Siege Tech yet, so a little bit curious on what exactly Jimpo's strategy is, almost losing an additional Viking there, as this barracks once again floating back up, acting as a little bit, acting as that early scout. So both players, income-wise, we have Morrow sitting at 36 harvesters against Jimpo's 26, and now Jimpo just really trying to use as much gas as he can, really using a lot of Vikings and Siege Tanks, not much of anything else. Perhaps we will see some Marauder play, as now we have 2 supply depots now being completed, a reactor being placed down, and an additional starport. So Jimpo looking to transition things and go into more of an air strategy, as SCVs are repairing the rest of the early forces of Jimpo. Jimpo sitting at 1,050 mineral army and still not researching siege tech. This is the first time I've ever seen a Terran player not research siege tech in a Terran versus Terran game. SCV running straight into his death of a single barracks now up in the air, getting shot down as well. Vikings are on the ground, so those Vikings shooting very, very quickly as well. Those Vikings essentially almost like Hydralists at this stage in the game, attacking very, very quickly, and now Jimpo losing a lot of his units, once again pulling back, and now more siege tanks coming in, trying to push back. One siege tank down, both sides taking heavy losses. APMs are in the 200s, as the losses are in the 5,000s and 4,350. So Morrow not losing nearly as much as Jimpo. Jimpo now down to 150 mineral army. Things are definitely not looking good. Siege tanks definitely need siege tech. I don't know where he learned how to operate his siege tanks, but yeah, this is definite bad news. Vikings may be trying to do some sort of land and harassment onto the main mineral line, and if those Vikings headed off into that ground mode, the siege tanks coming back over in order to try to push back against those units. Now Vikings just trying to stand close by these by the starport over here in order to intercept any units that are coming on out of there. No Marines being trained up, and not even a single Thor being trained up. Finally, siege tech being researched. Army of Jimpo sitting at 500 against Morrow's 1,800. By leaving those Vikings over there, he will basically ensure that no additional Vikings are able to be trained up unless he tries to get some Marines, or at least a missile turret. Finally a missile turret being placed down. Those Vikings should probably land and then just start shooting down that single Marine. And those siege tanks unable to really do anything to counteract that. No units really coming back up, and wow, this is just a little bit of a misplay there. A single Viking coming back in, able to do some harassment here, but still those Vikings now in that ground mode, starting to shoot down, able to take down the tech lab, and probably should have been focusing down on that reactor. The reactor is much more critical, as these siege tanks now coming into position, gonna take down those Vikings. Those Vikings having relatively low hit points against the damage of a siege tank. The reactor now getting burned down there. SCVs may come over to try to repair it and perhaps build an additional missile turret as well. Army-wise, 1,200 versus 2,000, APMs 125 versus 160 on average. But remember, you have to multiply the averages by about 40% in order to increase the actual timing, because the game timing does not always match up with always match up in timing. A quick scanner sweep reveals a large number of siege tanks, and now a brilliant move by Morrow to get some Vikings as well. Siege tank now coming in, and now you see all of these units just trying to siege up on each other. Morrow sieging up on this low ground should be able to deal significant damage towards these units here. A single Banshee now coming in as well. These siege tanks perhaps trying to do a little bit of an engagement here. Siege tanks moving on in and trying to get out of range of this particular siege tank, able to take down one early siege tank, but more Banshees and a very large army from Morrow, and Morrow should be able to take this game. Morrow doing a great job fending off this whole entire attack, and Jimpo is forced to say GG. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this game between Jimpo and Morrow here on Steps of War.